Hey guys, my name is Mavi and I've spent the last 14 years in the plastic surgery and beauty industry, working alongside top board-certified plastic surgeons. In that time, I've helped thousands of women in their surgical journey. My passion to educate and help women feel empowered is what led to what we now know as the Big Butts, No Lies podcast. Join in on the fun as I talk to plastic surgery experts, friends, and real-life patients about all things plastic surgery. Should be fun. Teresa, I am so excited and so happy to have you on the show. Your story has had me in tears watching your transformation and watching you during your recovery. Oh my God, it's been amazing. I am so happy for you. I can't even imagine the changes that have happened in your life. Tell us about it.
Thank you. Oh my goodness. I mean, just in surgery or I mean,
everything. So I actually made a question card on my Instagram, and what somebody is wondering, or what one of the questions was, how did you push yourself through?
So I started at 600 pounds. I was told by doctors I was turning 40. I had had 2 mild heart attacks. I had like a variety of obesity related health issues going on. I was on 9 different medications, and they literally told me, like, you're not going to live to see your 45th birthday if you don't do something about it. You know, that really shook me when I heard that from the doctors. But I still left their office and I went and I binge ate, and I continued to binge eat for a while because I think I was really just numb to it all. But what really kicked it off for me was when I met this cardiologist who, when I met her, she didn't attack me or tell me I was fat and I needed to exercise and I needed to change my diet. She literally like looked at me in my eyes and like asked me, what happened to you? What happened in your life to make you do this to yourself? Like, you're killing yourself. You're going to die. And something about the fact that she just reached me as a human being on that level, I just broke down, shared my story with her, and she was like, look, you are carrying around 20 years of grief and trauma, and it's going to kill you. So you need to find a way to let it go. Otherwise, you're not going to make it. And I left her office and I really started focusing on meditation, learning how to meditate properly, manifesting, visualizing, because my mental and emotional headspace was not in a very good place. I talked horribly to myself, about myself. I treated myself horribly. Like, not only did I eat badly, but I literally mentally abused myself on a daily basis. Like, and I know so many people can relate to this, where we just tear ourselves apart on the daily. Like, before I go to bed every night, my ritual was literally to go through my day and break down how awful I did that day, right? You know, and then promise to do better the next day. It never worked for me. So I really started focusing on trying to learn how to reprogram my thinking and my self-talk. And I started to identify that I had like what I call in my brain, like my inner fat brain or my inner fat bitch. And like, she was like sabotaging me every day because there was always this part of me that wanted to live a happy, healthy life, but I didn't know how. I didn't know how to cope with everything. And I didn't know how to make it into my reality. Living in a 600-pound body is, you know, we see the shows, My 600-Pound Life and all that. And you're just like, oh my God, my heart goes out to those people. I was one of those people. And it is a very isolating, depressing, very lonely, sad life. It truly is. You feel like a prisoner in your own body. And once I started to identify that there was a part of me that wanted to change, I started to tap into that more and more. And I started to have an inner dialogue with myself where like I came up with this caricature in my mind of like my inner fat bitch. And so like when I would find myself going to binge or not wanting to move my body or anything toxic or unhealthy, I literally would be like, no, wait. You have been running the show for 20 years and you have screwed everything up. I'm done. You need to time out. Like, I literally in the beginning had to do that hundreds of times a day. And the more and more I started putting her in check, the more and more the real me started to feel like a warrior. And like, I'm a fighter. And like, wait, this bitch does nothing on me. Like, I am a fighter. And so I just slowly started to work on the mental and emotional aspects for me. That literally was the first thing. People always want to focus on diet and exercise, which are super important. But when you're 600 pounds, there are some deep rooted issues there. And speaking for myself, I had to process those things. And so that started coming first, the mental and emotional aspects of it. And then I slowly started to teach myself how to cook and bake healthier versions of all of my favorite foods, because I knew I could never give up pizza or dessert or like all the good things. So I tried to find ways to keep those things. I wanted to make sure that whatever I did was sustainable. I had a life of yo-yo dieting, failures. I was like, I need to take that wagon that we get on and off again and just like light it on fire. Like, it's gone. It doesn't exist anymore. And so that's what I started doing. I went from eating 10 to 15,000 calories a day of fast food and junk food, energy drinks, over the course of like 8 months, all the way down to about 2,000 calories a day, and dropped 180 pounds. Now, physically, when I first started, I could not stand for more than a minute or two at a time. I could not walk from my house to like my car without completely being out of breath and feeling like I was going to die. I did all of my chores, like household chores, showering, everything I had to do sitting down. Legit could not stand. And I just started practicing standing at my bedside. Okay, I'm going to stand while I fold laundry. Yes. Do I feel like I'm going to die? I totally do. But that inner fat bitch, she was the one telling me to stop and give up. And me, the warrior inside, was like, no, we're going to keep pushing through no matter how hard this is. Like, it gives me goosebumps even talking about it, because it genuinely is it's so powerful. And I just started practicing walking laps across my house. And I did that every day. And I would be completely exhausted. I was maybe doing 300 steps a day on a really good day. But after 8 months, I built up to being able to walk an entire block. It was incredible. It makes me emotional, but
you're amazing. You're amazing. You are amazing. That's all I have to say. That's all I can say.
Oh, you're so sweet. Thank you. It's been a journey, definitely. And the first few years are the hardest when you are trying to lose a massive amount of weight. Like, you have to be consistent. You have to be determined. You have to find the will to get up every single day and keep fighting, because it's so much easier to just sit back down and fall into your same mindset and behavior patterns. You literally have to learn how to create lifelong, sustainable, healthy mindset, habit, and all the things. Like, I started to really try to visualize, what does healthy Teresa look like? What does she feel like? What does she do? What does she eat? Like, who does she hang out with? What does she read? Like, what does she do in her free time? And that was so empowering for me, because then it was like I could go through, like, I had like checklists, and I'm like, okay, healthy Teresa does not come home and just sit on the couch all day long. She doesn't go to the fridge and then close it and go call fast food, like go get fast food. Like, so I had like this roadmap, not just of diet and exercise, but like everything that I wanted to embody. And I just kept going. Very, very hard. But after the first 8 months, I had lost 180 pounds and met with my doctors and my team. And my doctors felt very strongly that even though I had lost 180 pounds, they were like, we really think that you need to have bariatric surgery. You know, you were 600 pounds. And even though you're in a really good place now, you're still very new into your recovery. And if something were to happen emotionally to trigger you, we're afraid that you might spiral and resort back to old behavior patterns or whatever. So I said, you know what? Okay, let's do the bariatric surgery. Had gastric bypass surgery, and then lost another almost 200 pounds after that. And I say it all the time, because there's like this thing in the weight loss community. We did it natural. We did it with weight loss surgery. And I'm like, I'm an equal member of both communities. So I feel like I have a unique position to say it's hard either way. Weight loss surgery or natural, it is very difficult, but it helped to save my life. Literally made me stop to think about what I put in my body. Why am I putting this in my body? How much am I serving myself? Like, just so many things. And the weight loss surgery is a great tool. And I always tell people, if you have a massive amount of weight to lose and you're struggling, like, don't hesitate to seek out any method that makes you happy in your journey. But here I am now. It's 4.5 years later, and I've lost now probably about 430 pounds. I am under 200 pounds for the first time since the 6th grade. So, wow. I mean, literally, and I'm 4 years old. So Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy. Physically, like the changes, I mean, going from not being able to fit into my car, like I literally, my stomach covered the entire passenger seat, covered the gear shift. My brother had to disable the horn because my stomach covered the entire steering wheel. The seat had to be down. Like just one little thing, like being able to drive. I can walk into grocery stores and stand. I can go like I did today with my kiddos to PE, and I stood the entire time. Like I don't have to, like when you are 600 pounds, your mind is consumed with how far do I have to walk? How long do I have to stand? How far is it from point A to point B? Like, is this chair, am I going to get there and there's going to be anywhere to sit? So all of that energy that I spent having to fixate on how to maneuver a 600-pound body, that's all free now. So now I have all that energy to think and feel and do so many amazing things. It's just like the greatest blessing ever.
Teresa, your story is just amazing and so inspiring to so many women out there, men too, who struggle with weight loss. And what you did, I actually talked about it on a previous episode when I was talking about what's holding you back from living your best life. And one of the things that I told my girls that I did was I wrote down who I wanted to be, like what my dream woman is. Who is she? What does she do? What does she like to do? What does she smell like? What does she like to eat?
Yes.
And that's how I figured, okay, that's how I want to be. And that's exactly what you've done. Look at you.
Thank you. Look at you. That's awesome, right? To be able to figure that out, like that is very powerful to be able to be self-reflective and to take the time to say, what weight? It's not just what weight do I want to be? Like what number is the scale? That doesn't matter at all. It's like, what is the life that you want to build for yourself? Because your life is made up of so much more than just a number on the scale. People even ask me now, how much do you weigh? How much do you weigh? And I'm like, I have not weighed. My surgeons said to me, you're going to be filled with fluids. We recommend you don't weigh for months. And even day of surgery going into it, I didn't weigh because I already know I'm a warrior and I've lost over 400 pounds. I'm like, that doesn't matter. I need the freedom of the skin finally being removed from my body. Now, for me, I originally gained all of the weight. What the trigger event for me was I lost my mom and my brother to suicide when I was in my early 20s. I didn't have the coping skills to handle those losses. And then I wound up having to help raise my younger siblings. So here I was emotionally just broken in so many ways, not knowing how to cope. So I started to binge eat. I started eating in secret. I isolated away from everybody. And I manifested my stress and my grief in the form of physical weight. And so for me, having the abdominoplasty surgery, which is the surgery that I had 6 weeks ago today, that was more than just having skin removed. That for me was the last little remnants of the grief and trauma that I carried around for 20 years of my life that was literally killing me. And for me, every pound that I lost, I associated it with a negative feeling. So every time I would see the pounds go down, I'm like, this is the time where you were walking and someone threw food on you. This is the time when somebody called you a horrible name. This is the time when your boyfriend in high school told you you're fat, so I don't want to be with you. Like I literally would go like and do like little tick marks, like this pound is for this. And like, so I mentally was trying to shed every little poison toxic thing that I absorbed throughout my life that we all do, right? I mean, we do. The fact that I remember back to my high school, like love telling me that he couldn't be with me because I was fat, even though I was already big when we got together, like I internalized that. And so for me, I'm like, I needed to go all the way back and I needed to just release. And that's where like the meditation and the visualization started to come in, because at 600 pounds, it is almost impossible to move your body. And so for me, it was so painful physically and emotionally and mentally that I had to learn how to project my mind into the place that we speak of, the embodiment of who I wanted to be in the future. Because being present in the moment and trying to move your body at 600 pounds out in a public environment where you already know everyone is staring at you. They're saying things about you, like they're judging you. I couldn't handle all of that. So I had to go into my mind and tell myself that I was already this badass warrior goddess who was healthy and happy and doing all the things, even though I was struggling every single step. Nobody else knew that on the outside. Like I was telling myself that it was the only way I could get through it, And I found it so empowering to pull yourself out of like your misery in that moment and put something positive there. It literally made all the difference in the world for me, especially when I first started out my journey. But actually, I still do it. I still do it to this day, trying to get through recovering from plastic surgery. I project my mind into a happier, healthier body where I'm all healed and everything is all good,
Tell us about your surgery journey.
Oh my goodness. So I tried for 2 years. I have all the documentation through my medical insurance, my doctors, like this surgery is medically necessary. This patient has lost 370 pounds. She has a very large hanging apron. I mean, I'm talking blood, raw rashes, horrible rashes that were debilitating. The stomach also caused me to have mild scoliosis. So my spine is curved. It made me have neuropathy in my entire right side of my body. Like I could not feel anything. And we had all the documentation and I was denied multiple times. And I started sharing my story on TikTok about the time when my boyfriend died in April. And for me, that was like this big test of like, okay, are you going to spiral or are you going to like embrace this new life? And I chose to embrace it and started sharing openly, which was really hard for me to do. But I started sharing about it. And then a few months ago, I decided, and I don't know what possessed me to do it, but I decided to show everybody my stomach. And legit, I'm telling you, not even my sister, who's my best friend in the world, would I ever show like my stomach to. I didn't show it to anybody. And I showed my stomach on TikTok. And I just got like this tsunami of love and support from people. And somebody tagged my surgeon, Dr. Charlie Chen, who is freaking incredible. They tagged their office and was like, hey, have you guys seen this girl's story? Like, just check it out. And so then they reached out to me and they were like, oh my God, you're incredible. Like, can we talk? And I had spoken to a few other surgeons previously. And I'm a person who's very big on someone's energy, your intention, and do we resonate with one another? And within 5 minutes of meeting him, I looked at my sister and I was like, that's the surgeon. He's going to change my life. And everything just lined up. They literally called me to tell me that they could do the surgery on the anniversary of my brother's passing, which was the trigger event for me gaining all of the weight. Like, how like the synchronicities were just, my whole family was like, are you kidding me? Like that day of all days, it was like a gift from up above or whoever, whatever synchronicities put it together, where it was like literally the day that changed my life and led me to gaining all of that weight is the day where I found out that I was going to finally be free. How often does that happen? Like, that is crazy. I was blown away. But they were just like, he saw the stomach and he was like, I can take that off, and told me, yeah, okay, let's talk. And then we'll talk again. I kept telling my sister, I'm too fat. They're going to see it and they're not going to be able to remove it. Even though I'm all about being positive and everything, I was like, the reality of it did not even sync up for me. And I kept telling my sister, because the surgeon I had met virtually. And I was like, no, when he sees me in person, he's going to be like, no, that's too big. I don't want to mess with that belly. And he didn't do that. They were absolutely incredible, him and his entire team, and walked me through every single aspect of the surgery. But when I found out that I was going to have the surgery, because I had started manifesting this years ago, where I wrote in my journal every day, I had skin removal surgery. I am happy. I am healthy. I am good. I am this size now, like every single day. And I couldn't believe it was finally happening. I'm like, oh my God. So then I started transitioning my thinking process to, okay, when I was walking, for example, at the marina, I walk every day. What is it going to feel like to be walking without the skin? And so I would stand there and I would meditate and I would walk and I would visualize, what is it going to feel like? What does that mean for me? I started visualizing what it was going to be like on the operating table. So I wanted to prepare myself mentally, physically, and spiritually, because I know that for me, this journey was so much more than just getting the skin cut off. So I really just threw myself into this entire process and did a lot of research, spoke all the time with him, with my surgeon and his staff, did a lot of journaling, a lot of meditation, a lot of self-reflection, and kind of pulled back a lot because I really felt like I needed to prepare myself for this. And I'm so glad that I did. It is not an easy thing to go through, this surgery. Like I said, I'm 6 weeks post-op today, and what I had done was the abdominoplasty, the fleur de lis, and they did liposuction on my abdomen and my flanks. I live in Long Beach, California. My surgeon's about a 2-hour drive away in San Diego, California. And I'm fortunate enough to be blessed with a family of nurses, and they accompanied me. And I got to meet them in person day of surgery. I had not met them until day of surgery, and they were all so lovely and kind. And I felt so prepared. Like they literally talked to me about I talked to every member of the team. Like I literally got phone calls from everybody, which totally floored me. I was like, wow, they actually like literally care and they want me to be prepared for this. But I had to go through, get the testing done, get the EKG, get the clearance and all that. And everything was all good. However, we knew going into this that I was a little bit of an elevated risk because I had pre-existing comorbidities. I had heart disease. I had the mild heart attacks. And I also had an issue with elevated red blood cell count. So from having weighed 600 pounds, I had those issues. And we discussed all of them. And my surgeon felt confident that he could take the skin off, which I still did not. I'm not even kidding you. Driving to the facility, I was telling my sister, he's going to turn me away. He's going to turn me away.
Couldn't believe it.
Right. I was like, no, it's not going to happen. And then so once we got there and he started marking me up and wasn't like turning me away, I was like, oh my God, this is actually happening. Like, I can't believe this is actually going to happen. And I was not afraid. I had zero fear. I literally every day kept telling myself, faith over fear. Your journey has led you to this point. All of this is happening for a reason. So I'm just going to have faith. And I did. I was smiling, super happy. Like they did all the markings and they were so wonderful. My family was there. And I woke up, and when I realized it was gone and they told me that they had removed 47 pounds, I didn't even realize it because the surgical tech told me when I tried to get up, I tried to move the belly out of the way. And then they had to tell me, no, honey, it's gone. It's gone. Wow. And I was like in total disbelief. I just couldn't believe that it was gone. Just the most beautiful, powerful, honestly, one of the most powerful days of my life. Every single one of those people, just even the guy who just took me off the table, he's like, I'll take you for your first dance, just to turn me around. Like the compassion and the kindness that these people showed me, it meant everything to me. And they honored what meant so much to me was that the surgical team and the surgeon himself honored the spiritual aspect for me and the emotional issue that was for me. It wasn't just about the skin. It was like, hey, you guys are literally taking off the last little remnants of all of this pain that I carried around and all this things that I inflicted upon myself for so many years. And I think that they all really felt it too. You could feel it in the entire place. Like they knew what was happening and how powerful it was for me. And it's absolutely incredible, really.
Teresa, I don't think I've ever cried so much in an interview because your story is just so amazing and so inspirational. And you're a manifestation of everything good that you wanted in your life.
I honestly, I don't feel amazing. I don't feel and I'm so grateful when people tell me that, but I'm like, it's so important for me for people to know I am a regular person. I struggle. I still struggle. I have had so many ups and downs in my life. But, if you can, I saw the thing by Brendan Fraser the other day, the movie The Whale has just come out, and he was talking about if you can just find the will to get up and go toward the light. And that's literally what I've been trying to tell people throughout my journey. I felt for 20 years that my light had been just tucked out. It just went out, and I felt like an empty shell. And I needed to just have a little bit of that light to hold on to and to move toward. And the more that I focused on that light, and it had to come through me healing, but the more that I focused on that, the more I started blowing myself away with what I could accomplish. There's just so much power into believing in yourself and believing even more that you can do the hard things, that you can do everything your fat bitch is telling you can't do. Like, no, you actually can do that. Like for me, she was the recipient of every negative thing anyone ever told me, every way that society makes you feel about being fat or being a woman who is fat. Like all the things, she was the recipient of all of that. And then it was like she was taking it out on me. You know what I mean? Like she was taking it out on me. And then I just decided to like flip the script and be like, no more. And it's just life changing. And I just want people, and I appreciate that people find my story inspiring and that they think that I'm amazing, but I'm also very much a person who was broken. And I want people to know that you can do it. You can totally mentally, emotionally, physically, and spiritually transform your life. If you really genuinely believe it, you have to embody it, which you already know. You have to have that vision.
Yeah. When you create that woman in your mind, I tell my girls, create that woman who your dream girl, your best version. You did it. You did it. So I love your honesty, everything that you've posted on Instagram and on TikTok. I love your transparency and the transparency with the blood clot. So why don't you tell us a little bit about that?
So I'm in recovery. Week 1 and week 2 were going really, really well. I was feeling really well, feeling healthy, doing good. Come around Christmas time, my family, because at that time they were, after you have a major surgery like that, my family, my sister, my aunt were basically coming every day, showering me, getting me all patched up, checking the incisions and making sure everything was okay. We noticed that I was having some infections on the drainage sites and then toward the middle of my abdomen. And by that time, I already wasn't feeling well. I had stopped really eating very much. I had no appetite. I was hardly eating a few bites, not drinking a lot, but still taking my pain meds because I was in pain. And between the time of Christmas and New Year's Eve, I had developed what I thought was a pulled muscle. And it was in the back right side here. And I kept saying, oh, I just pulled a muscle. It's from my abdomen hurting and I'm sleeping in a medical recliner. My family, all nurses, kept saying, well, no, that doesn't sound right. Like, okay, something must be wrong. And then I started having trouble breathing, like massive trouble breathing. And every time I would go to speak and breathe, I would cry out because the pain was so intense. I'm a Taurus. I'm very stubborn sometimes. And my family kept telling me, like, no, you need to go to the hospital. And it was New Year's Eve, pouring rain in California. Everybody I know was out celebrating and I was home recovering. So I'm like, I have no one to take me to the hospital. I'm not going to go to the hospital. I'm going to go to bed. I'm going to go back to the medical recliner and I'm going to lay down and I'm going to go to bed. And I came back here and I laid down. And this is the chair where my boyfriend was when he died. He died of a pulmonary embolism. And he had cancer, but he had a pulmonary embolism. So when I laid down in this chair, for some reason, I started having flashbacks of the day where he was struggling to breathe. And I forced him to go to the hospital. And something told me in that moment, you need to go to the hospital. I jumped up and I went and I called 911. And I wasn't going to do that. Like, I literally, it gives me goosebumps. And I was like, okay, this is happening for a reason, right? Like, so I get taken by ambulance. I got turned away from 2 hospitals because it was New Year's Eve and they were crowded. They take me to this one particular hospital. I was in agony, screaming. The ambulance ride was horrible. They had laid me flat. I couldn't breathe. I was struggling, soaked to the bone because my gurney got stuck outside. Like, it was just a mess. They took me to this hospital and right away, a few people recognized me from TikTok. And so then they got me into a room. The attending physician tells me, you have a blood clot in your right lung. And there was a few other things that were going on, but they said, you have a pulmonary embolism in your right lung. And I was like, right away thought, my boyfriend, oh my God, like, this is crazy. And then they start talking to me. For me, this is all connected to a bigger thing, but I had the pulmonary embolism. Like 2 days later, the attending physician is asking me, like, how did you start your journey? And I brought up the story of the cardiologist that I told you about. And she stops and she was like, wait, what? Who is the cardiologist? And I said, her name was Dr. Sapnowski. And the girl stops and she was like, that's my mentor. And she does rounds at this hospital. And I was like, are you kidding me? I had no idea. And she was like, I need to find her and tell her your story. Comes back and says, I'm sorry, she's out of the country on vacation. Next day, I'm in my room crying, feeling sorry for myself. I want to go home. Curtain opens and there's a camera and there's my cardiologist, the cardiologist who literally I feel saved my life, who literally for the first time treated me as a human being. We were reunited for the first time. And
Wow.
I was able to tell her what she had done for me and the fact that what she had said to me changed my life. But now that I was sharing it with other people to try to help them, I was crying. She was wiping tears, all the things. And for me, had it not been for the blood clot, had it not been for me being rerouted to that hospital, I never would have been reconnected with her. And now her and I are going to try to work together to help educate others in the medical community on how to be more compassionate and treat people with issues with obesity like human beings first.
Wow. This
None
is
of that would
amazing.
happen, right? So like, I know getting a blood clot is negative. It was horrible. It's not a side effect of plastic surgery that I expected. But like, if that hadn't happened, I never would have had the chance to tell her how she made me feel and how she actually had a long lasting impact on my life. And that started a ripple effect. And I told her, and she was crying and I was crying, and it was incredible. Back to the medical aspect of it. They treated me in the hospital. I am now taking blood thinners. I have to take blood thinners for 6 months. We knew that it was a risk given my health history and everything. I have to go back and get scanned like in 12 weeks to make sure that I have no other clots and to see if this one has dissolved itself. And then I have like all the antibiotics and all the things I have to take. But, somebody asked me the other day, would you have had the surgery knowing this would happen? And I was like, I'd do it again in a heartbeat. In a heartbeat, I would have this surgery with all of it, with the blood clot, with everything. And I just genuinely believe everything happens for a reason. Like, how incredible. One little blood clot, even though it was awful for me, it's just like my journey. Good, beautiful, amazing things come out of the most difficult, dark times in your life, And for me, the fact that my times in my life that I have struggled, that I thought were going to take me down, can be somebody else's inspiration or motivation to save their own life. Like, it's all worth it to me,
Teresa, I cannot believe this. This is the most amazing story I think I've ever heard. Like, every single step has been just so inspirational, and I've had goosebumps and I've had tears in my eyes the whole interview. This is amazing.
It's like legit my life, which is so crazy, And I know people tend to focus on a lot of the negative aspects of obesity and the struggles and the hard things, but like, I just find so much beauty and positivity, and even the worst situations, losing my life partner, like getting a blood clot, all of those things, I have learned and grown so much through them. And all of those things helped me. I mean, everything I've gone through helped to prepare me for my surgical journey, for this journey. I'm only 6 weeks out and I'm already back to work. I walked like 4 miles today at work, and I could barely do 2 miles last week. I was in the hospital 2 weeks ago today. And that's the power of your mind and your heart. Like we have our mind up here again, but you have a heart mind. And if you listen to your heart mind is always going to guide you in the right way, And I feel like once I stopped listening to that bitch in my brain and started listening to my heart brain, everything just started to click for me,
Wow. Okay, I was just telling her that when she mentioned about being in the recliner and having those flashbacks, I'm like, that was him pushing you out of the chair.
Yes, it literally was. And so my boyfriend of 22 years, he was the only man I'd been with my entire adult life. He is the one who was my biggest cheerleader. He would literally cry every single day and tell me, baby, you have this light in you. You have all of these things. You need to share your story. And he is the one who taught me all about manifesting, visualization, reprogramming my mind. Like, he gave me all of the tools, and he would tell me, because we knew he was sick. He had cancer. And he would tell me, baby, when I go, you are going to be able to help other people and teach them these things so you can help save other lives. And I would tell him, oh, babe, like you think way too much of me. But when he died, all of a sudden, I just literally was like, okay, I need to do this for him. And I started with the TikTok and like really hitting it hard and sharing, like you said, being super vulnerable and totally transparent. And a whole other element that I feel like I couldn't do totally on Instagram, I was able to bring that to TikTok. And I feel that through me and through my journey, he gets to live on. And that will be the things that he taught me will be able to help other people. And they already are. I get messages, thousands every day from women telling me the journaling, the manifesting, the inner fat bitch, all the things you're telling me. And those are all things that I never would have known without him. And just the synchronicities and everything took off after he died. And you would think after losing the love of my life, that I would have gone into a really dark place, but I didn't. It was like, he always called me his like golden unicorn. And it was like, all of a sudden I just kind of started to literally try to embody. And I started to focus on shining my light as bright as I could so that he could see it from wherever he was. And so that everybody else could see it too.
You got me. This, wow.
Very powerful. You know, if you don't believe in the power of love or spirituality or anything, like maybe my story won't resonate with you, but if it doesn't anyway, you know, you can see how powerful and how true it is. And what I say to you guys is the absolute truth. There have been so many things that have happened to bring me to this point, to bring me to your show so that we can help inspire other people, you know?
Well, let's hold hands and do as much as we can and help as many women as we can and change as many lives as we can.
Yeah, uplift one another. Uplift
yeah,
one,
absolutely.
Right? That's what we're here for. Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
That was so beautiful, Teresa. God. I think because for my journey, I had to do exactly what you did. For me, it was my trigger was going through a divorce and like having to change my life and rearrange who I was. I was married for 15 years, like my whole 20s. So I was like, who am I now in my 30s? Who am I? I don't even know.
It's a death. Really, it's a passing of that time of your life. And it's those transition times that are so challenging for people when we lose somebody, when you have a divorce, when you lose a job, when you have to move from a home. It's those moments of transition where people tend to either go one way or the other. And if you can just tap into your inner strength, that warrior goddess that we all have within, you can literally blow yourself away. You can just be amazed by what you can accomplish, you know, with believing in yourself. It's just, I hate to make it sound so simple because it's really not. It's very layered, but having the faith in yourself that we always have in everybody else. We always lift everybody else up. I'm always complimenting everyone and cheering everyone on while I was tearing myself down. No, we don't do that anymore. We don't subscribe to that. No,
we don't subscribe.
No.
I love it. I love your personality. I love your energy.
Oh, it's
contagious. Contagious.
Thank you, Mavi. You're so sweet. Thank you so much. And I appreciate you having me on. You're incredible. And I love what you are doing.
Thank you so much. My mission's just like yours, to help as many women as I can feel this feeling that I have of happiness, of fulfillment, of excitement, just to wake up and do what I do.
And you're doing it. And you're a mom, you're a regular person, you got your kiddos, and here you are taking time out of your day when you're probably tired too. And you are taking time because we know that by sharing our journey, by sharing our struggles and our successes, we can help other people. And that's what it's all about.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You are gold. So tell us now that it's all gone. How does it feel to get dressed?
Oh my God. It's the weirdest thing. Okay. So it's not like I had, 5 pounds or 10 pounds removed. And that's not to diminish anyone else's experience, but I literally had like the weight of a toddler removed off of my abdomen. And it is absolutely insane. I remember leaving the facility and walking, and just like my family was like, I literally like walked all by myself, like with my little walker, but like walked from the parking lot to the Hilton up to the room. And I was like, this is so much easier than I thought. Again, my old fat brain always comes from the mentality of everything is hard for me. Walking is hard, everything's hard, but I have to reprogram my brain. And so now I'm seeing just something like getting dressed, shaving my legs, putting lotion on. I've never worn tights in my life. I was able to get tights on today and I stood like while doing it. It's mind blowing not to have, I can't describe it to, I mean, just it hung down to my knees. I have not seen my thighs or my lady parts in like 20 years. Like, I remember when I was getting the lymphatic drainage massage for the first time, and I had like the people recording, the massage lady was there. She's amazing. My aunt was there. And I like literally was looking down and I was like, what, why is it right there? And I was talking about my vagina and I was like, I don't understand. Why is it right there? Because it had always hung down to my knees, right? Our fupa all the way down. And they were like, honey, no, that's where your vagina is supposed to be. I was completely shocked. Like, I know that sounds weird to people. I mean, like biologically, I know where it goes, but for my own body, I was looking down going, oh my God. And then I looked up and I was like, well, what's that? And they were like, that's your belly button. He made you a belly, like you have a belly button. I just like cried. I'm like, oh my God, like just taking a shower. I find so many firsts every single day. Just driving up to work today at a school where I worked and taught at for the past 12 or 13 years in a 600-pound body, pulling up there today for the first time without any of that weight there. It took all of my inner strength not to lose it and just sob and like sit in my car and sob. I was like, this is incredible. Just absolutely amazing. So incredible. Now, the getting dressed part. Everyone is super excited for me to go clothes shopping, right? Everyone, my sister's here every day bringing me clothes. And I'm like, my brain is still fat brain, where I equate shopping with stress. I equate shopping with negative body image. And so now I'm like really trying to get outside of my comfort zone. And when I got dressed this morning and I was like, I actually feel kind of cute. I was like, oh my God, I actually look kind of slim and I'm still super swollen and have the faja and the padding and everything. But I was like, oh my God, I actually feel pretty. And I kid you not, my entire life, I cannot recall a single time where I truly felt beautiful or pretty, not my entire life. And a lot of that is because of what society makes you feel and gives you the stereotypical ideas of what it is to be beautiful. And now I find myself for the first time in my life, and I don't want to say I equate it with thinness, but it's a mental and emotional state of me not having all of this baggage that I'm carrying around with me. It just feels incredible. Just every little thing that I do, getting my shoes and socks on, getting my toes done. Like there's a million little things that I could tell you. Getting into bed. I used to have to prop my stomach up with 5 pillows because it weighed down on either side. I don't have to do that anymore. I can get in my bed and I can just lay there like a regular person. And it's very surreal. I'm still in the stages where I'm like, this is unbelievable to me. It's actually, I'm still shocked in a lot of ways. I didn't even realize because I had a massive apron and then I had a little mini one on top. I didn't even realize until about a week ago that they took it. Like I was looking down and I was like, oh my God, that's gone too. Like, I know that sounds crazy, right? But like, I just didn't process that it's all gone. It's just a blessing in so many ways.
So many ways. You know what I've heard some of my girls tell me, that when they walk past a mirror, they're like, oh, that's me. That's the new me.
Yes, constantly. I'm like, I have to stop and look. And then I turn and I look from like multiple angles and I'm just like, oh my God, this is me. And then my mind starts going to all the possibilities, like all the things I'm going to be able, I can't wait to jog. I can't wait to go bike riding. I have 3 bikes and I couldn't ever ride them because of my apron stomach. I'm like, I work a mile from Disneyland and I haven't been in over 20 years. Like, I can't wait to go to Disneyland just to be able to walk around and ride the rides. And like, I want to be able to date again and feel comfortable in my body and not think that someone's just looking at my skin, you know? So my mind now is not focused on all the barriers. It's focused on so many possibilities. And that mindset of focusing on possibilities rather than your obstacles or your barriers, that's what carries you through a weight loss journey. That's what carries you through a plastic surgery journey, like anything in life, right? Like looking for the future and all these beautiful things. And I'm just happy and excited and so grateful. Just
I'm
my
so
heart is
happy
like
for you.
floating with happiness, literally. And that's the
I,
glow. People tell me, like, people are like, you're glowing, your soul is so beautiful. And I'm like, what you see is just a side effect of consistent self-love, self-care, putting myself first every single day. The weight loss, the glow, the joy, those are all side effects because I have been consistently taking care of myself and showing up for me every single day for the last almost 5 years.
your story is just so magnificent, amazing. I cannot thank you enough for sharing it with us, with TikTok, with the world, with coming out and being vulnerable, something that I think a lot of us really struggle with, letting ourselves be vulnerable in front of other people. Thank you so, so much for opening your heart and your home and your experience to motivate other people who might be in your situation or who might be in a situation just where it might not be weight. It could be something else and they just need some motivation to get out of it. So I'm so, so, so happy that I was able to have you on the show and share your story. You've been amazing.
Oh, I'm so happy. And I genuinely just want people to know, keep fighting for yourself. Keep whatever makes you happy in this life, do it. And don't believe all the negative things that you tell yourself or that other people tell yourself because it's all BS. None of it is legit. Like every single one of us has a warrior inside of them. You just need to tap into it and build that positive momentum, and once you get that positive momentum going, you're freaking unstoppable. You are unstoppable. And I just wish that everybody could feel that. I wish I could take how I feel now and like bottle it up and be like, here, look, this is what it's going to feel
for
like.
You.
Yes, exactly. And that's why I get up and I share. And I've been, even throughout my recovery, I've been going live like twice a day, trying to make videos and share because I genuinely wanted to share every part of this. And I love that I've gotten thousands of messages from people who are getting ready to have plastic surgery and who are like, oh my God, thank you for sharing because I never would have known that. Or thank you for sharing about the blood clot because I never would have thought to look for these symptoms. So I'm grateful that you guys all show me so much love and support and that you guys enable me to have the platform to share my story. I'm so grateful.
Well, I don't think we could leave this episode on a better note than that. Like, if y'all needed a motivational moment in your life, like this is it. Y'all need to listen to this and think there's nothing that I cannot do.
No, you are unstoppable. 100%. Yeah.
Okay, Teresa. So I want you to give your doctor a shout out.
Oh my goodness, legit the best plastic surgeon, Dr. Charlie Chen. He works in San Diego, California, and is surrounded by the most incredible supportive staff. They are all like some of the best humans I've ever met. But his vibe, not only is he super skilled at what he does, he's incredible. I mean, I broke his record for the weight being removed, like 47 pounds.
I think that's a lot of records.
And that's a lot, right? That's a lot. But like, he genuinely cares, texting and calling me around the clock on New Year's Eve when he should be out partying and having a good time. They genuinely care. And I highly recommend if you can travel to him, go see him, get surgery from him. He is incredible. Absolutely. And I hope you get the chance to speak with him because I'm obsessed. He's incredible.
I do actually. We are scheduled to meet tomorrow. So I'm super excited to chat with him.
Oh, good. You're going to love him. You're going to be like, oh my God, this cat is so cool. He is very, very cool. Yeah, he's a surgeon. And so sometimes people can be very intimidated by doctors. He's so down to earth and just really friendly and very straight up. And literally, I did not go into surgery not knowing anything. They literally prepared me for every single aspect of the surgery. And I'm so grateful. So,
wow. You could not have asked for a better team.
No, I really couldn't have. It was meant to be. Every single one of the team members they changed my life and they are all a part of my journey. And I'm so grateful and my transformation. So
your transformation, transforming Teresa. You are amazing, Teresa. I'm so happy to have you here. And I hope to have you back on the show in a year when I ask you, what have you been getting into?
Yes. We'll have lots to chat about.
We'll have lots to talk about.
Lots to chat about.
I'm so happy I had you on the show. Thank you so much for coming on, and I'll see y'all next week.
Thank you. Bye.
I would like to end this episode with a huge thank you to all of our listeners. If you enjoyed this podcast, make sure to subscribe to Big Butts No Lies Podcast and follow us on Instagram at Big Butts No Lies Podcast. If you have a topic you want me to cover, please send it to the DMs. If you know anyone on their plastic surgery journey, be sure to recommend them the show. You can also visit us on our website, bigbuttsnolies.com. You'll see the online surgical recovery store. We're adding new items all the time. If there's something you think I need to have on there, send me a DM. Don't forget to leave us a 5-star rating on Apple Podcasts. And don't forget, new episodes every Monday. I'll see you then.